I want to say in like 1992, I got this book from the library that was called Hexed Films. And, you know, it was basically about cursed movies. And I wasn't supposed to get it. I was like, you know, 11 or 12. And the lady was like, I'm not supposed to let you check it out, but I checked it out and I've been obsessed ever since.
Wow.
And of course, so I have my little list. I'm going to start out with The Omen. Okay, so did you guys know? Okay, there's so many horrible things that happen with this, but the one that stands out to me is, okay, you've all seen it, right? There's the bamboo seat where they go to the zoo. Okay, so right after that happened, after they shot that scene, a guy who was a lion tamer, I'm not even kidding, somehow the lion cage got left open and he was mauled to death and killed.
It bit him on the head.
There was that. The special effects artist, a guy named John Richardson, who is famous for, there's a very infamous decapitation scene in The Omen. Well, anyway, he's in a car accident and his girlfriend, who's also like a grip on the movie, is decapitated. When he comes to during this accident, after the car's flipped, he comes to, he looks over, the girl's missing her head, and the sign to the town that they're going to says something 666 miles away. No kidding, you can Google it up. It
said Omen, OMMENN, 66.6 kilometers away.
What?
Yes, Gregory Peck was struck by lightning. The assistant,
I heard that. I remember
in an airplane. He was in an airplane.
Son committed suicide before the filming even started.
So I remember hearing that. Yeah.
This movie just has so many. To me, this is just the mother of all cursed movies. There's so many bad things that happen with it. You know what I mean? And I love it. I'm here for it. The second one, Twilight Zone, Vic Morrow. Now, I didn't know. Did y'all know that was Jennifer Jason Leigh's dad?
No,
I didn't know that. Wow.
So that is Jennifer Jason Leigh's father, and they were estranged when he got killed, and he left her like nothing in the will. But she has gone on to be a big advocate for like on-set safety because of this.
Wow,
you know?
I never knew that.
Now, decapitated. You know, you can actually see the scene on YouTube. It's pretty horrific. There was an
Entertainment Tonight.
Now this one,
in the 80s.
As I was looking through this list that I had here, that was on there, but that doesn't really seem as cursed as some of the other things. That seems more like just one incident that was probably could have been avoided if there was safety precautions.
Probably better safety precautions, yeah.
But they were also using those kids that died, because 2 kids died. They weren't even on the books. They weren't even legally working here at all.
Right. It was all under the table.
You know, and you know, I'm kind of glad that Dave isn't here, because he was going to rip into was that John Landis that did that?
Yeah.
And I really can't have him ripping into John Landis. I can't abide it.
Despite everything, I'm oddly a fan of his. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, horrific accident on set. So yeah, you can't really say it's too much of a cursed film, but it's pretty effed up what happened, and the YouTube footage is amazing. I mean, if you're weird and you're a morbid Molly like me, and you've looked at it frame by frame by frame,
I've
that
seen
was
it.
like a terrifying set to be on. Just FYI. Rosemary's Baby, Roman Polanski, of course. We have a lot of scenes that end up mirroring and paralleling his own life. Sharon Tate, of course, gets killed in that horrific murder, Exorcist, I just found out about this. There was an on-set fire, apparently a freak on-set fire. Everything gets destroyed except for Reagan's room. How weird is that? Multiple incidents of people getting struck by lightning, accidents. 2 of the main actors died during the filming. The guy that plays the producer that ends up dying. And then I think the woman that was the priest's mother also passes away. And The Crow. And I'll tell you a little something about The Crow that I know. I have a friend who is a nurse, and she was there while they were actually filming The Crow. Now, I probably shouldn't tell this story. She'd get really upset with me, but I will tell you what she told me. When he got shot on the set, there had been electrocutions on the set. There had been so many, problems with the filming. And I guess the whole film had this really bad, dark vibe about it. Anyway, he gets killed. He's in the morgue. Her and 2 other nurses went down and took a look at him on the slab. And she said he looked beautiful. Yeah, she said he looked very gorgeous. And she contemplated taking a picture with one of those disposable cameras, but did not, out of respect for the family. But I always thought that was a really intriguing story because, randomly laid out there dead like that, One that's odd, Wizard of Oz. I'm going to go there. It's not so much of a horror movie, but let's talk about all the effed up shit that followed Wizard of Oz, like everything.
The orgies. The orgies at the Munchkin.
we got drunk Munchkin. We got Judy addicted to amphetamines to keep her thin, is slapped around by producers. I mean, we have her smoking, I think it was 18 cigarettes a day, black coffee, and soup diet. I mean, pretty much this movie to me, the lion costume was made of real lions. Like, who does that? Who says, here's how we're going to go down that route?
Yeah.
The guy who played Tin Man got lead poisoning. I mean, the woman who was the witch, she got burned horrifically. So
the hanging, right? The hanging of the munchkin in the corner. You can see
that's
that.
alleged.
I don't think so. I did it one night in college. You can. There's something there. I froze my TV.
Okay, so this is what I just found out about today, the Passion of the Christ. What the hell? Okay, so apparently when they were doing the sermon scene, the lead actor, this is the one with Mel Gibson, Jim, I can't remember his name,
Caviezel
or something.
He can call me up if he has a problem with the way I pronounce his name. Call me. Anyway, so he's doing the scene on top of the mountain, and apparently he gets struck by lightning, not even kidding. And then the assistant producer is struck by lightning. So, like, there are several things in this movie that are totally creepy. And then, like, the guy goes on to have a car accident. Mel Gibson has his horrible thing. But the mother of all, I'm going to end it with this one. And I looked this up today. My baby's in the back screaming right now, but this is how much I want to. It's called Antrim from 1988. Have you guys heard about this?
I've heard of it. I'm not sure if any of it's authentic, though.
Apparently, anybody who sees this is cursed.
Huh.
I don't
know. I saw it.
That's what I'm saying. That was like why I had to watch it, because I was like, fuck it, I'll tempt fate.
My kind of girl. So in 1988, during a viewing of this film, okay, for no reason, they've done all kinds of investigation. An unexplained fire breaks out in the theater, killing all 56 people watching this movie. Okay, so say what you will, this could have been a freak accident, whatever. Fast forward 1993 in San Francisco, they're viewing the movie again. For some reason, the audience goes crazy. They stampede out. A pregnant woman is stamped to death, and killed, stomped to death, and murdered. So, I mean, and then the guy who owns the theater said he put LSD in the popcorn. That's rumored. Don't know if it's true, but there are several incidents regarding this film.
That would do it.
Everyone had anything to do with it. Look it up. It's effing creepy.
I don't believe any of it. I really don't.
Now,
it came out in 2020 or 2019, and I saw a bit of it. It seemed like they knew to go in line with the idea of cursed films, Blair Witch, and they played it up in the postmodern internet age.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. But it's
I don't, because the footage of the original film from the 70s, I went to film school and I know a little bit about the processing. You can tell it was shot today, and they put a
filter on it.
You can tell what a 70s looking film looks like. Yeah. And this is not the footage that they show of Antrim, the film. It's bullshit. That's my. Watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you just pick one film from the 70s that was shot, like Daniel Pearl didn't even know what he was doing shooting the Texas Steak. You can watch the Texas Chainsaw. That is like the epitome of a low budget film from the 70s shot on 60 millimeter. Yeah. And Antrim in the movie does not look like that at all. It looks like digital iMovie effects, and then let's spin it around.
I've seen shit like that, but I don't know that. I could see if you dosed a bunch of unknowing people with LSD that would cause some real weird shit.
That makes sense.
Because especially if they've never done it before, and then they're just like, well, the fucking universe is here. Whatever's going on. But I had some additional stuff to talk about here that Lisa didn't touch on. Man, she's so good at just getting in there and fucking. She's very professional. I like that. But,
and apparently this movie was up for a bunch of awards, and from what I understand, you can look it up, because they have actually an itemized list of people that have died regarding this film. But apparently there was a couple people that were involved with the film that died unexplained, and it's very mysterious. So the film is considered the most cursed film of all time. So I have never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces of it, because of course immediately I YouTubed it. I wanted to see what what it was all about. But yeah, creepy. I mean, 1988, for some reason, the theater catches fire, and there are articles that are out there on YouTube. I mean, they have stuff on YouTube about it everywhere. It's really creepy, because everything is really we don't know what happened. And 56 people, for whatever reason, could not get out of the theater. So it's creepy. And then you go 1993, you have this incident with another theater and people, you know, stampeding out and a woman gets killed that is unfortunately pregnant. That's creepy. So yeah, those are my cursed movies though, man. That's it, you know? And I love it. I'm here for it, you know?
As I always say, if it's real or not, it's still entertaining. So let's just go with it. It's
still entertaining, right. And you know, I want to point out this movie. I think it's called Antuck. It was a movie that John Belushi was going to be in. So it was a famous movie that he was going to be in, and every lead actor that was going to be put in it ended up dying. So they started with John Belushi. He passes. Guess who goes to take it after that? John Candy. He passes away. Then it's Chris Farley. He passes away. So it's a movie. It's another one considered cursed because every lead actor died that people considering for it. And also I want to add, every guy who ever played Superman seems like they had a really rough go of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Supermen don't turn out too good. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a demanding job, Lisa.
Smallville. You remember the show Smallville? Did y'all watch that in like the early 2001? It was like a little teen drama.
I remember it. I've never been a Superman fan. I think he's overpowered.
The guy who played Superman was on a podcast, and I was like, you know, who's this poor old guy? And it's the guy who played Superman. I was like, oh my God, what happened to you? You know? He's like, the years have been tough, man. So yeah, any guy who played Superman seems like they had it rough.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, man. But that's it. Yeah, those are those cursed movies, man. So yeah, that's it.
I got a couple of things that you didn't point out that I had in my notes here because I spent a lot of time trying to unravel some of these things. Rosemary's Baby. The composer ended up dying. He fell in a fight or something. They said it was roughhousing.
So I've lectured on Rosemary's and Exorcist in depth for the last couple of years. So Rosemary's, I'd say Rosemary's, in my opinion, and The Exorcist, those are the two most, to me, like freakiest of all those films. Like
they've got the most incidents that happen.
Yeah, and I don't want to swallow up all the oxygen, but I could go on because I've lectured on every little thing, and I turned part of that lecture into basically a 2-year story of how the parallel events between Manson's life and what Clancy's doing leading up to Sharon Tate's murder. So that was the last lecture I did on that. So I went all in on that stuff. But Polanski, I mean, Rosemary's Baby's got some weird stuff is going on with that. I could go on for hours about it, but like there's just some, like you said, Lisa, like the mirroring between his life and then what's on screen.
Right.
And I mean, it just goes all, I mean, like
I remember the first time I saw that, you know, that movie, and it's such a claustrophobic feeling that just builds and builds. And that's what makes it such a great movie. But I did not know about the composer falling like that. That's crazy.
He fell at a party. Then William Castle, the producer, he came down with some insane out of nowhere, like
kidney stones
failure, just as it was about to premiere. Another person got some kind of weird brain aneurysm. They died. Those were like, there's definitely 2 deaths, I think. I mean, they filmed it at the Dakota where John Lennon's assassinated in 1980.
Yeah, that in itself is bizarre. Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I could go on for hours. I mean, it's just so much weird stuff. And then like all the satanic imagery. I mean, Anton LaVey, they always said Anton LaVey's in the movie. And
he is for a minute, right? Like a flash. He plays.
But yeah, that's not true. But the weird thing is then going really deep is that Anton LaVey's Church of Satan in San Francisco is where one of the Manson girls was a topless dancer. That, you know, Manson actually did know Anton LaVey, you know, and so
he knew a lot of people. He dealt with what's her name? It's not Marilyn Monroe, it's
Jane Mansfield. Jane Mansfield and Anton LaVey were dating right before Mansfield was decapitated going across the South.
That's down the street from me right now. I could get on the road and go down there right now. Don't get me started. I actually, Elliot, cut you off. Oh my God. So I was on the phone just yesterday with the first police officer who was on the scene of the Jane Mansfield accident.
Wow.
And we were actually talking about the LaVey-Levon connection of how she allegedly was cursed and how her boyfriend was messing around with his candles and blew out a candle. And he said, you better not do that or you might lose your head. So I was just talking. He was the first police officer on the scene, not even joking. Yeah, he heard it on the police scanner. Right down the street from me. I could drive there right now.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, I did not know he was in the film. Sorry to get off track, but oh my gosh.
No. See, that's the thing. That was the rumor of one of the million rumors that LaVey is in Rosemary's Baby. He's not. But the weirdest thing is to find out he was connected to the Manson family and the Church of Satan and all these other people that made up Manson's ideology that eventually leads to, August 1969,
I think Rosemary's Baby is one of those movies that, like, I've tried to like it. I really wish I liked it.
You don't like it?
No, it's boring and then it's long, and I love the soundtrack. Don't get me wrong, that soundtrack is awesome, especially if you can find.
What about the filming techniques? Can you at least appreciate how claustrophobic
I've kind of been.
Scenes are so.
I've been talking about this kind of in the group a little bit, arguing with people mainly about the movie The Witch, which I hate.
Dude, thank you. I hate The Witch. I think it was one of the worst horror movies in years.
Yeah, right.
I really wasn't a big fan.
And everybody always says, "Isn't it beautifully shot?" And it's always said with the same candor as she's got a great personality. It's like I've watched IMAX movies about roller coasters and they're boring. Beautifully shot.
And it's beautifully shot, right?
But like I understand Polanski did a great job with the movie. If you like slow burns, it's probably right up your alley, but I don't think they give you enough at the end to make it to validate the same way that The Witch does. I put those in a category that I call slow burn, stay awake challenges, because I can't fucking stay awake to fucking watch it. Because there's the music's great, but it'll lull you right to sleep like a little baby. Maybe that's why
And see, for me, I'm just captured. Beginning to end, if Rosemary's Baby's on, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to stop. Watch it. I'm invested. And from beginning to end, every scene to me is just so captivating. Like, for whatever reason, I love that movie. It always sticks with me. And I guess maybe being a woman also really does prey on those insecurities of, like, being pregnant and alone and, having your husband make a freaking deal with the devil so that his acting career takes off. What a dickhead, right?
I think that it's if you like moody stuff, I can see how somebody could get into it. I could totally appreciate it for what it is, but I used to own it on VHS way back in the day, and I would put that fucking thing in like, I'm gonna watch it this time, and then I had to watch it in segments, and then by the time I got to the end, I was like, wow, this is nothing. You're not like, they don't show you a devil baby, really. I mean, I want to see if you're gonna drag me to the end of this movie, give me a fucking thing that is biting something, or I don't know, man. Just
I don't. It's weird. Like, technically, as a director and a writer, I really love it. And I have to watch it because there's so many tricks that Polanski's doing subconsciously. And I'll argue that there would be no Kubrick Shining without Rosemary's Baby, because he's doing a lot of subconscious, subliminal stuff. But at the same time, Aaron, it's not one of my favorite movies. Like, I hate the ending. Like, I get the horror, but I don't agree with her going, "Oh, I'm going to love this baby." Like, there's some things I don't agree with, but I still have to watch it from a technical standpoint, because he's doing a lot of things that are amazing and had never been done at that time. Yeah. And like you're saying, Aaron, I love The Bite. I want the fucking bite. I hated The Witch. I hated It Comes at Night. I hate movies with no bite, doesn't give you that third act. Yeah. And Rosemary's doesn't give you so much, but Rosemary's works, I think, because there's so much creepy stuff going on that you could watch it over and over again. Like, did the doctor say that? Like, what is Charles Grodin saying this when she's on the, like, there's just so much subliminal stuff he's doing in Rosemary's that I think no one had ever done yet before in film or horror. And it definitely sets the stage for the next, like, 30 years of horror. And that's why I definitely respect it, but it's not my favorite movie to watch. Like, because like you said, I don't like that lack of bite at the end. I want her to kill everyone in the couple.
Well, I think that there's so much tension built up to that end that whenever it kind of just peters off at the end, there's like nothing. Like, they could have gave you any, like, even if she just killed the baby, like, that would have been a thing that you would have been like, holy shit, like, but instead you're kind of just left going, it was well shot.
I love it. I think it's such a great movie. I love it. I think for me, it's a claustrophobic movie. Like, to me, it builds on just that feeling of helplessness, and especially being a woman. And I think maybe it resonates different because I am a girl. You know what I mean? And like, that could very well be something that could happen. You put yourself in her mindset of like, what would you do? And, New York seems so small, even though it's so big. And, for me, it's just a brilliant masterpiece. And like I said, if it's on, I'll watch it. So yeah, I never knew that it was so cursed, and that, you know, I knew the Sharon Tate thing. Of course, we all know that, but I didn't know the composer fell and stuff. You know, I didn't know, like, for example, people were struck by lightning, and that seems to be a reoccurring theme. You know what I mean? So yeah, totally creepy.
Let's see. I had some other stuff on The Exorcist here. You know, it was one of those things where you don't know whether it's true or not. When that movie came out, they said a lot of people were vomiting, passing out. One lady broke her jaw when she fainted. There were 4 people that died. You mentioned the Jack McGowan, who played the film director, died of influenza. I can't even say this lady's name, so I'm not going to try to. The mother of Father Karras died of natural causes. Numerous cast and crew lost family members, including Linda Blair lost somebody, Max von Sydow.
The craziest thing there, I mean, I go on because I lecture on really in depth on that. But one of the scariest, craziest thing is that Jason Miller's son, while walking on the beach during filming, is run down by a motorcyclist.
Right.
His son almost is like basically on life support. And freaking is like, he's like, you know what? Let's shoot this pivotal scene. I think it's him crying over his mother just died in the film. And he's like, let's just do the scene, put everything into the scene now while you're going. He didn't know if his son was going to live or die. It was like that bad. And they shot that scene and they got all that emotion. And the next day, his son recuperated fully. Like that's the insane part. Like all the other stuff, like Lisa said, there's so many other weird, freaky stuff, but like that is the scariest, freakiest thing. And then, I mean, like Ellen Burstyn had her back pulled out by the pulley that drove her across the thing. And then because the set was so cold, that's why there's a lot of weird stuff on it, but like the set was freezing so they could have the breath and look like the devil's taking room. And it's because basically the set was like an ice locker. Like it was that below zero. And that's why a lot of people got really, really sick and got pneumonia because that was a stage set that it was that frozen. Like it was just hell to go into that. And then it's even crazier to know that Max von Sydow was an atheist, and he was like, I can't say this. I don't know how to say these things. I don't believe in this at all. I don't believe in this at all. But it's so, it's like, but yeah, and then the other craziest thing, which I don't know if you read, but I've read so much stuff on this. The most chilling part is that during filming in Georgetown, Friedkin and William Peter Blatty got an audience with the local diocese. And that's when the local diocese revealed the actual manuscript from not even Georgetown, but the Vatican, a Vatican papal approved manuscript that showed that this had actually happened to a boy named Roland Doe in Cottage City, Maryland in 1949. And that is what William Peter Blatty had been researching, but he had never gotten his hand on this stuff until while they're filming, the local church, the diocese, or whatever they call the head priest, he lets them see the actual things that saying, you were white when you wrote this book. This is, and like, so it's one of the only very few exorcisms that the church did recognize and did put on record. And so it all came together while making
So do you think that had he written, by the time they filmed this, had he written, what's the second book called that they made part 3 out of?
Legion. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Had he written that yet?
I'm not sure. I know, like, when he was he went through a divorce. He had written Shot in the Dark, the Peter Sellers movie, and he went through a horrible divorce. And that's when he started remembering something. I think he grew up in D.C. or the Georgetown, and he started hearing about this as a kid. And that's when he started deep diving into, like, this exorcism of a boy. And he got so far to find out enough that this kid was named Roland Doe. I think that's the pseudonym. And happened in Cottage City, Maryland, and it was unexplained. And they did bring in a priest, and there's all this weird stuff that, like, even today, like, there's enough stuff that maybe he was wanted attention, but there's a lot of weird stuff that the kid did that they brought in the Vatican, all this stuff.
Like the Annalise case of that little girl, you can actually hear the YouTube videos of her during her exorcism where she's speaking in Latin.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is terrifying to me. I can't even listen to stuff like that, you know? Yeah.
I was wondering if he had written that second book after he had read those documents, because
he probably did. You're right.
It seems like when you watch part 3 compared to part 1, there's a lot more context for shit in that. Like, he's really got some stuff.
3 now?
Yeah.
Okay, little tidbit. My grandfather did the sound on Exorcist 3. He worked for Warner Brothers.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
so he did the sound on Exorcist 3. So a lot of the sounds you hear are like dogs and animals in reverse,
Wow.
which is why it's so creepy sounding. Yeah.
That movie is like one of my top 10.
Me too. That
favorite.
jump. Okay, can we all agree that jump scare is one of the best jump scares ever? We all know what I'm talking about.
I remember vaguely.
My favorite thing about the movie isn't even any of the spooky stuff. It's George C. Scott just being George C. Scott and his relationship with the Reverend in the movie. Yeah. It's fucking hilarious. I want him to be on like a sitcom together, you know? Like,
I love so Exorcist 3. I really do. I think it is a gem of a movie. It's a scary one too.
Oh yeah, and Brad Dourif should win an award for his performance.
Agreed, 100%.
He's crazy. Yeah, love that movie. But I had some other information here about, let's see, The Omen. Because there was some really weird shit that happened with.
Wasn't that creepy? Like, what the hell was going on with that movie? And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a huge fan of the movie.
I don't like it much either.
I don't like it. I don't like the performances that much. I think the story is so stale. The kid annoys the F out of me. I don't like demonic children movies. Like, the only one I really like is Pet Sematary. You know, and that's not really demonic child, it's more repossessed child. But like, I'm not really one for like the demon children. So this one, I just don't like it. So I was surprised to read of all the horrible things that were attached to this movie.
I mean, like,
how many people had been struck by lightning? Yeah.
There were two different people. Gregory Peck was on a plane that got struck by lightning, and David Seltzer, the writer of the film, was on a different plane that was struck by lightning. Wow. But Gregory Peck almost died because he canceled a flight that crashed and killed everybody on board. And the weird thing about that is that plane hit a vehicle containing members of the pilot's family. So like, it's a double whammy there. Yep. And then executive producer Mace Neufeld and Peck and some others had planned a dinner at a restaurant, and it unexpectedly exploded before they were set to arrive.
What?
Then that same executive producer, Neufeld, and his fiance narrowly escaped another explosion when the hotel they were staying at exploded shortly after they checked out.
This was a crazy movie, y'all. Like, this movie was cursed. I mean,
there was more animal stuff because Gregory Peck's stuntman was attacked by Rottweilers that would not listen to the trainer's commands, and he ended up getting,
oh my god,
bit to shit. I also had a Poltergeist on here.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Heather O'Rourke passed away after being misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
She had a severe bowel obstruction that caused her to go into cardiac arrest, and it was believed that she was suffering from congenital intestinal abnormality.
Yeah.
But, also,
in the third movie, you really see it because she looks very unwell, very unwell.
That's what they said. If she hadn't done the third movie, the parents, I think, sued because if she hadn't done that, she would have lived.
It's so unfortunate. It's hard. I love those movies, but it is very hard to watch them because of that. Also, Dominique.
Sister, who was the sister?
Dominique Dunn, who played the older sister.
There we go.
She was choked to death in her own driveway by an ex-boyfriend.
I remember this story. Was it John Sweeney? I think his name was, and I think it was her boyfriend who was a chef. And this guy actually got let out of prison and is like out.
He was in there for 3 years. That's all he was in there for.
Isn't that nuts? Oh my gosh.
Of course, the evil preacher Kane from part 2 died, but he had stomach cancer. He was very old.
Fabulous actor, and boy, does he sell that role,
oh,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, he sells that creepiness. When I was a kid, that guy, the let me in. Oh, God.
You know, he makes that movie, definitely. And also the man who played the Native American shaman, Will Sampson, he passed away during a heart-lung transplant following his participation in part 2, which, I mean, that's a big surgery. That's probably real rough to survive that, I think. But
it's just, I've worked some disaster movies too, so I don't know. That's why, like, it's like some things are pushing it because I've worked some horrible indie films where things have gone wrong left and right, but it's like, well, I don't know if it's cursed or.
Yeah, it could just be unlucky.
Unlucky,
But Beth Williams had said that she played the mom in the movie, that Spielberg insisted on using actual human skeletons because they were cheaper. Now, I don't know if that's true.
I heard that too, but I can't see Spielberg. I don't know. He doesn't seem like that kind of, like, I could see like Tobe Hooper doing it.
Yeah, and there's always the whole who directed it, Tobe Hooper.
Oh yeah, that was Spielberg. The other thing. That's such a big debate.
Because Spielberg was in it. Like I heard a podcast with
it.
Yeah, but he was involved hands-on, especially the part where the face gets torn off.
I heard that he directed
that's his hands.
Oh, wow.
And I heard that from the guy who plays that character, because there's a podcast called I Was There Too that has just like small roles, just like small people that were there in the movie also.
Wow.
And that guy was on talking about it, and he said nobody wanted to, it was such a one-time makeup thing. They're like, nobody wanted to do it, so Steven just put his hands in there and got him dirty himself.
So iconic. Yeah,
it's weird because the Hooper debate, the more you like, the opening of that movie is too Spielbergian. Like, there's too much Spielberg touches in Poltergeist. It makes no sense for the guy who's coming off of Texas Chainsaw and all these other films. Like, and even Salem's Lot, it's just it is a lot of stuff does not add up to be.
It doesn't feel like a Tobe Hooper movie.
It feels too much, especially the opening sequence is a Spielberg like blueprint for an opening sequence.
Oh yeah,
the skating, the kids, like it's just too weird. Once you know that in your mind and you rewatch it, you're like, I think he definitely co-directed it, and I heard there were fights and there was a big studio involved, and I really think that's what happened. That Tobe Hooper did a lot of shooting, and either he reshot some of those sequences or he did. I mean, same as John Carpenter with Halloween 2. He reshot parts of Halloween 2 because they wanted more gore and violence. So a lot of the Halloween 2 scenes that are the violent ones, Carpenter actually directed those.
Right.
So
yeah, it's hard to tell when it gets in the weeds with like multiple production people. I mean, a lot of times producers have more hands in the pot than what people think.
Absolutely.
And they'll cause, like, there's the classic story of Kevin Smith was going to do the Superman movie with Nick Nolte. Yeah. And the producer said, hey, I have an idea, giant spider, right? And he's like, giant spider, Superman never fought a giant spider. And like, just, he kind of just threw the idea went up in smoke. But then that same producer, just a couple years later, made Wild Wild West. And what's at the end of Wild Wild West? A big fucking spider. So, sometimes producers really just want the giant spider to happen, and they'll get it. But a couple other mentions here. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Now this sounds like promotion to me. Allegedly, Jennifer Carpenter and Laura Linney complained about radios turning on and off during their time in the film.
Wow.
Seems like just some shit you'd say. The Innkeepers, Ty West was inspired to make The Innkeepers after the crew of his film The House of the Devil stayed at an allegedly haunted inn during production. They filmed the Innkeepers in that very location and all stayed on location. So there were multiple stories of doors opening and closing, TVs turning on and off.
Innkeepers is good. I hated House of the Devil, but Innkeepers is pretty good movie. That's pretty good.
I've had my finger on it before. Like, I'm gonna hit it, but I never do, because I don't know if I like Ty West, because I didn't like House of the Devil.
I hated House of the Devil.
I thought it was very boring, and everybody's
was great. I loved X.
See, I think I'll like that one too, but everybody's on the fence about it.
I loved X. I think he does a lot of great stuff in X. Yeah. It's like, it's crazy. It's got a lot going on. That's the only one I 100%. I watched it twice.
I mean, what the people that hate it say that it's just nothing new, but my response to that is, if I love hamburgers, if someone makes me a hamburger, I'm gonna be like, that's a great hamburger. I'm not going to be like, this is not a new thing, and throw it away. So it is what it is. The other two that were mentioned on here, I didn't even really look that far into them. The Conjuring and Annabelle Comes Home, because they're attached to the Warrens, and to me, the Warrens are bullshit people. I mean, that's
the more I dig into the Warrens, it's like breaking my heart. My 13-year-old heart is breaking from when I first read. Like, I'm finding there's a lot of holes in a lot of those stories with them.
Yeah, I mean, they were involved somewhat in the Amityville.
Yeah, there's a lot of like the Amityville stuff was a lot of a con job, it seems.
You know why I think that you have to kind of appreciate them though? Like, I mean, okay, let's say like, yes, they are con artists. Okay, like, yes, they totally, I mean, I guess kind of what we're discovering now. But I think that in the end, they gave a lot of people peace. Yeah. And I think comfort. And I think Lorraine Warren was one of the sweetest, kindest women. And like I've seen a lot of interviews with her. And let's say you're somebody dealing with something paranormal that you don't understand. They definitely seem to have helped people, regardless of if they were conning or not. And they gave them comfort. And they also took a lot of those cursed items, which I wouldn't want to touch. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that shit that I just don't want to even get near. And, you know, here in New Orleans, we have stuff like that voodoo stuff that you just don't mess with. There's a place here, a voodoo temple here, and there's a shrine that I just do not mess with. People go up and make offerings, and I always just get bad vibes. It's been there since the 1800s. I don't like it. I don't go near it. You know what I mean? So I think that they gave a lot of people peace with that. And honestly, with paranormal stuff, you need to be a little messed up in your head and be a con artist because, you know, honestly, people don't really believe it. You know, paranormal is the biggest con art of it all because you don't know if it's real or not. You know what I mean?
And
proof.
I've watched a lot of
very good and noble thing. Even if they were conning people, I think they were good and noble people. You know, so
I've watched a lot of ghost videos, and I'm like, I'm kind of thinking there's probably some real ghost shit happening somewhere sometimes, but. Also, at the same time, I'll see posts like I saw a post just the other day on Facebook. $60 go on a ghost hunt with these 4 unknown people. I'm like,
they got a lot of those here.
Like, are you kidding me? You're gonna just dye your hair black and wear black shit, and then have the equipment to do a ghost hunt, and then you're gonna charge me $60. I need a trial ghost hunt, and then maybe after that one, when you prove to me that you know what's going on, maybe we'll get involved in the financial side of things.
Well, you know, we do a lot of that here in the French Quarter. We have a lot of the ghost tours here, a lot of the vampire tours, and they charge and they bring these people around and they tell. I mean, we have infamously the Dungeon nightclub where we had a prince. This is a true story. I mean, this is not, you know, this is in records, but a prince came here back in the old days, rented out a place and was there forever, and blood came out from under the door. They break down the door, and apparently he'd been kidnapping and torturing people, and there's a dungeon there, and we now have a bar called The Dungeon that has his old dungeon stuff there, so you could literally go see where these people were tortured, you know. So it's a very, you know, common thing to have these ghost tours and people that really live the lifestyle here. We have a lot of voodoo people here, like real Bloody Mary is a very good friend of mine, and she lives the lifestyle. Like she wears the white robes. And I am very hesitant. She has asked me before to attend, you know, some rituals, but they're out in the middle of the boondocks, and there's places past the bayou that I don't go, and that's
I wouldn't go nowhere near the bayou anyways.
No bayou, no bayou.
That's where the gate is all.
That's what I keep saying. You guys got to come down and visit me one day. All of you have to come visit me one day.
Yeah, I'm not going to bayou. Man. That's where Jean-Claude Van Damme gets you.
It's going to be hard getting me out of Ohio, I'll be honest with you. But anyways, guys, we should wrap this up. Leah, did you have anything to say? You've just kind
of
Leah,
hanging out. I had fun listening to all this stuff. Well, mostly what I had to say was like about cursed stuff as a whole instead of like specific each one's, or I don't know. Now I sound dumb. I'm from North Carolina.
Let's hear it.
So anyways, like so anytime that you're filming or talking about or bringing attention to like the devil, you know, even with the Passion of the Christ thing, like it kind of, even though it's for purposes of entertainment / like, I guess, you know, bringing a visual to stories from the Bible or whatever you're portraying these people, it's very dangerous because you're as far as that one goes, it's almost like blasphemous, I guess, if you're religious. If you're not, it doesn't matter. And then as far as like the exorcism movies and stuff, and especially with the exorcism of Emily Rose, it does not matter how religious you are, or in any of the other ones. You don't have to be religious or believe in anything. You are not exempt from the powers and the forces that be. And anytime you bring attention to that and paranormal, and, you know, things that you necessarily do or don't know what you're talking about or know anything about, it's getting it out there, and it gives a way for it to like cause issues with people. So I mean, if anything, whether it is, hold on, I'm trying not to lose it. I have ADHD. Like, I guess they even if it doesn't happen during the movies and nothing happens from watching the movies, the people being involved, like with the stigma, brings attention to things. And with like paranormal stuff, you have to have attention for it to continue to have people to think about it. Kind of like
how Freddy Krueger has no power if people don't believe in him or something.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And so I know I did see this thing about The Exorcist, and it was talking about most of the, like the vomiting and the, people passing out stuff was media hype and and stuff like that to get people to draw them in to watch it.
Oh yeah, they've always done that. They used to pass out puke bags at certain movies, even though you're like, most of the movies they were doing that for, you probably weren't going to puke because it didn't look real enough. But it's all part of the gimmick,
Yeah, they used to buzz the seats and have people running costumes up and down the aisles back in the early days. Yeah, I would love to see a horror movie back then. Yeah. That's interesting, Leah, because I've always wondered that if by diving into these things you give it energy, and that's always freaks me out, because I always think to myself, I would love to do a horror movie, but do I want to put that kind of negativity? And Elliot, you being a filmmaker, I wonder, like, for someone like you, would you want to do a film like that? That could be. Yeah, I mean, you have. I mean, I'm gonna say, like, I mean, have you done something that you put out there and you think to yourself, oh, I wonder how this will affect, or what the ripple effect will be from it, because what Leah said is really interesting.
Yeah. I made a short film that goes some weird places.
Well, I like it. What is it?
Right.
It's called Daughters of Our Lord. I can send you the link.
Oh, wow.
I can show you the end part of it if you'd like.
I'm already loving the name of it. Leah, what you said was so fascinating though, because I so believe that too. I really do.
I agree, Leah, because my film Season in Hell, it took me 4 years to make, and it was such like hallucinatory things and Yardowski and Holy Mountain and all these things from my own life. And definitely the making of it was crazy. And some surreal stuff happened, definitely, that was like you said, if you're feeding that animal and it's also cathartic for you, that's great. It was cathartic for me and a lot of people. But at the same time, it was a season in hell to make that movie. And then it's like took me so long to get any distribution, and still today, and then it's like, because I put so much of my own demons into it, now when I've shown that movie, people see their own demons. Like, that's the weirdest thing that's happened, where people have claimed to see this or that. And I'm like, no, that's not. So I do believe somewhat in that, especially being a PA AD for 22 years. If you do, it's so much like to get the alchemy of making a movie is putting all these personalities under pressure, stress. And I think if you are feeding that, if anytime I've had a day where people say, this is going to be a bitch this day, it's going to be a 12-hour day, 16-hour day. If everyone says that going into that day on a shoot, it becomes that. And that's what's weird when going back to what you said, Leah, that I've seen by feeding that beast and that animal, this day is going to suck for the production. We made it happen. But if we had gone into that saying, no, we're going to make this good. And I have a friend, Brent Geisler, shout out to him, one of the best ADs in the business. When he tackles something, he's like, we're going to do this in halftime. He gets it done in halftime. Where other people I've seen, like, oh, it's going to be horrible. It becomes worse and worse and worse as it goes along.
Yeah. The thing I've noticed, the thing I've noticed about making anything is that it never goes the way it's supposed to go. Like, it's never, I had so many things drawn out, storyboards, threw them away. Throw them in the trash.
Daughters of the Lord.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it up.
Religious? What is it? You have me like on.
It's only about 12 minutes. We're not gonna play the whole thing. I'm gonna play the part that is the most fun to show people, because whenever, like, this is years ago, like 2015 or something, we made this. And it was all written out, planned out, everything. Then a lot of the cast did not come through. And then it was like, we fucked up a special effect. So we had to improv. Like, it's one of those things that, like, we were trying to shoot all in one day because it was such a short thing. So it was like I wanted to plan it all out, but then I mismanaged it, and it was like the special effect that we needed dried before it was supposed to, or something. It was a mess. So we had to figure it out. Now I'm going to play you the most fun part whenever we play this in, because Randy showed it a few times at parties, and he says the reaction is always like, who are you? Why did you do this? Because it's so weird. It's our first thing we ever, like, first short film. So take into granted that the quality is that. And our second one is much better, but I'm going to show you just the fun part that I love showing people.
That's it.
Stay for dinner tonight. We have very special guests. Who the fuck are you people?
Oh no!
Over here. Sit down. Sit. Bow your head in prayer.
Sister, will you lead us in prayer?
Those who have passed shall rise at his will. May they follow in the footsteps of our beloved Lord until their flesh should rot away. We shall drink of the liken's eve and cleanse our souls of demonic temptation, strengthening our faith and our purpose. Tonight we feast, but our pilgrimage continues in the morning. The righteous paths stay true, and the prophecy fulfill itself. Blessed be thy Lashrak.
Blessed be.
Blessed be. Let's feast.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? Stop! Let me fucking go! Let me go!
Yes.
Okay, so
Well, and I don't know what to say, but I am completely impressed, and I love it, and I want to see it. Oh my gosh, what shit twisted stuff is up there? I love it. I love it. I love it. My only question is, why wasn't I in it? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I didn't know you then.
I would have been in it, dude. I would have been the first crazy chick.
And we're in Ohio, so that's a big thing there. But it was.
Were you inspired by Manson Girls?
That's not what it was supposed to be honest with you. That's what we ended up with.
It's very well done, though. Very creepy.
It worked, man. You did the job, man. You freaked me out. And if I didn't know you, I would. There's some cinema verite going on that, like,
people distance themselves. But if you're anybody that's made anything, you notice that there's like recording equipment in the background. Yeah. There's problems. I'm feeding my friends Jello with like fake looking bologna skin.
But the woman doing the prayer is very convincing. That if you had,
I know, I think so too. Like, y'all did some research with that prayer, huh?
Yeah, if you told it a different way, it could come up as like this weird found footage thing. Like, stuff in there.
There was this, like, it became a weird sort of last minute, let's put this together. We got to put something together, just so many things fell apart, but you can find that on YouTube. I can send you the link later if you want to watch that.
Like, revisit it. I've done that. There's some stuff that you just need to revisit, maybe.
I'm glad it exists. It was a good starter. Our second one is much better. It's a lot more things were taken into consideration. And the next one we do eventually will be better than that. It's just, I'm not looking forward to doing one again because it's so much fucking work. It's a
lot of work.
That's why, like, I'll shit on a film, no problem, in a joking way, in like a roast kind of way, because I realize that even the worst piece of shit films are a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And even if you are able to come up with an end product at the end of the day, you should be happy with it, because especially if you have producers on top of you or anybody that's put money into it that wants to change things around, it's just the way it goes, you know. But
yeah, I totally agree, because there's movies people hate, but it's like there's still a crew, there's still a vision behind it. Yeah. And I think most people that don't ever try making a movie and have never set foot on a set, they don't understand, like you said, there's so much more politics that go into making even the worst horror movie. And a lot of the worst horror movies are stuff I love that are cult or B movies. They were supposed to be much better, but somebody screwed it all up. Mostly 99% of the time, it is a producer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's the episode, guys. If anybody has anything else to add, go ahead and add it now, or forever say your, what is it? Forever keep your peace. What is it?
We all just need to start reciting Aaron's prayer from the movie now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know? Yeah, I'm waiting for the link. I want to see it, man. It looks pretty intriguing. I'm down.
I will send it to you.
And I always say this. I say this to you. I say this to Elliot. I need a role in one of y'all's movies, man. I keep saying that. Y'all need to put me in a movie.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Or I'm going to end up in porn.
You should be in all.
Make a decision, you know?
Either way. Either way is good.
One of two ways.
But you live in an area where they make movies all the time. You should be.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
She don't want to be in them movies.
No, she's in Louisiana. They shoot films there constantly, don't
they? Yeah. But they never want me. Yeah, they don't want me.
You got to go to the auditions, Lisa.
Gotta get down there.
But anyways, we'll catch up next month, guys. Leah, thanks for joining us. I hope you had fun.
Ready?
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry I wasn't better.
Hey, no, you dropped some heavy knowledge at the end there. That was good.
Yeah, that's kind of what I went back and read the post, and I was like, oh my God, I have nothing interesting to say about Dracula. And I was like, okay, I think I'll be good with this cursed movie stuff, which was initially what caught my attention. And I was like, surely to God, I won't get on here and look like a giant idiot. And I was like, you're
doing just fine. Have you ever been on a podcast before?
No.
Well, you jumped in the pool just fine.
Well, thank you.
But we'll catch you next month, and we'll see what we do. Right, guys?
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you, guys.
Take it. Have a good night. Take it easy.
Bye.
Good night, everybody. To go, these all around the bit, and I'm back in attack with another fat stack of the lyrics and the